Howdy everybody, it's the Mega Matt Cat. By now, anyone who follows my channel knows I just put up the finale for my Gundam Breaker playthrough, and I wanted to talk about my next project, which is actually going to be Gundam Breaker 2. But I also wanted to talk about the Gundam universe, why I have such a beloved affection for it, and why the games have always appealed to me, as well as the anime itself. Now, on that subject, as you can see, Gundam's had a lot of history. The original, the Z model, the Gundam Double Zeta, God Gundam, a few other odds and ends. And I've watched almost all of them and have enjoyed most of them. But in the last year and a half, there was a particular series that got my attention. Partially because of its brilliantly done antagonist. Now, all the Gundam series are based around the core concepts of awesome mech combat and design, mixed with the stories about how war sucks and is, hell. Let's just call it what it is. That's usually the story. It began with the original Gundam, as you can see here, and Amuro Ray, the legendary pilot. Honestly, I never liked him much. I actually thought Char should have been the star of that show, but I'm not alone in that from what I read. But Amuro was the primary character, and his story was about a young man who finds himself trapped in the middle of a war and has to come to terms with the idea that war is not nice. But my favorite story is Stardust Memory, and it's actually the one that really drew me into the series. Also, I found a deep affection for the Double Zero series, although more for the mecha design. The story in that one has never really caught me as much as I thought it would. I just think the mech designs in that are really, really cool looking. I especially like Double Zero and Reborns. I also like Mr. Bushido's design. I mean, a freaking hand-to-hand combat specialist mech. I love it. But that being said, Stardust Memory has always been my core. And more to do with the fact that it had an interesting protagonist, but the best antagonist in the series. And it also had two of the best mecha designs in the series. The GPO-1 and GPO-2 are two of my favorites for the fact that they are so uniquely diverse in their design and have completely different methodologies in what they were supposed to be used for. Now the GPO-2, the guy on the left, was piloted by my favorite character in the series, Anavel Gato. And in a lot of ways, despite being the bad guy, I loved him because he was a character who had a deep sense of honor and a deeply rooted belief that he was doing the right thing, even though in the process he nukes an entire fleet for his own gain as a way of getting revenge for his fallen comrades. At the end of the day, I loved Anavel because for all the things that were bad about his actions, he wasn't doing them out of some bitter, simplistic, twisted vision. He was doing them because he thought it was the right thing to do, and he believed in the ideals he fought for. And that was the unit he piloted, the GPO-2, a nuclear-equipped, flying decimator of fleets. One shot from that nuke and everything in its path was over. Now, Gato and the GPO-2 were the things that really drew me into the series. And playing in Gundam Breaker, I got to mess around with a lot of the really cool mech designs. But in Gundam Breaker 2, they actually have GPO-2 as part of the unit, which I find really cool. I like that. But the main reason I'm doing this little video, other than, to talk about Gundam and how much I love it, there is something else I wanted to discuss. I loved doing my work with Gundam Breaker, and I was glad to see that some people enjoyed it, but it wasn't as effective or as popular as my reviews were. I was surprised by how some of my reviews were really popular and a lot of people liked them. So, on that subject, I was going to ask for anybody who's watched my show, what would you like me to do with Gundam Breaker 2? I am going to do a full review, in fact. I am actually going to be putting that together here shortly. But before I get to that, I want to actually ask a couple of questions about what you guys would like me to do. Now, Gundam Breaker is unique in that it really didn't have a story per se. The first game didn't anyway. It was mostly just that there was a big tournament going on, everybody's playing in the Gundam Breaker tournament, building their own units. It's sort of a video game version of the anime Gundam Build Fighters. with some differences made. But as you can see, Gundam Breaker 2 is unique in that it actually has a story, which is actually a story within a story, and meta as all hell. But basically the idea is that the next Gundam Breaker game is coming out, and in their universe, they're having this big Gunpla tournament type game, similar to Gundam Breaker coming out, but it has a storyline inside the actual game. And so you as the player are partaking as part of this storyline and, you know, testing it out to see how it works out. But the fact is, it's still not an actual storyline. It's still a game within a game, and they acknowledge it as such. So my question is, how do you all want me to handle my playthrough of this game? And so I'm going to give you some choices here on how we can do this. Now, there's 3 items I'm going to propose, 2 of which are my own ideas. The third is sort of a free-for-all to let you guys, you know, suggest ideas. One is just a normal Let's Play. I play through every level I can get my hands on. I play through all the different units I can acquire, and I'm going to try and keep it to the 1 try per level rule for the non-story missions if we do the normal Let's Play. Now, the other thing I want to do is something I've been considering for a long time. I'm thinking about doing a parody of the story within the story, cutting out all the tournament-related junk and just doing a parody of the actual Gundam story as if it's a real Gundam story. My concept is that it's going to be a guy who is completely foreign to the Gundam universe, getting stuck in the Gundam situation and having to figure out what's going on despite not speaking the language, and just trying to blunder his way through, basically. I think it'll be pretty funny, but I thought I'd let you all know what my ideas were. The last thing is your suggestions. Do you have ideas? Do you have suggestions? Lay it on me, let me know. I'm all up for it. Now, the other question is, why am I asking this, and why am I, you know, looking for compliments? Well, not compliments, suggestions. Yeah, gotta get my head straight today. Basically, I play robot games all the time. I love them. They're one of my favorite genres. Armored Core, Gundam, you know, the whole 9 yards. Even played Robot Alchematic Drive and other games like it. So I love games that involve giant robots and tearing up shit. It's one of my favorite games. But with Gundam Breaker 2, because of its unique format, the story within the story, all this other junk, I feel like I should come up with a, you know, a real concentrated focus on what I should do with the game when I put it out there for you guys. So I think, why not just ask you guys, and, you know, people who might be interested, what would you like me to do? Now, as you can see, when I played Gundam Breaker, I was playing it as a straight-up Let's Play. Anybody who's watched my channel knows this. More stream of consciousness than, you know, written script or dialogue. And that was fine. I was having fun. It was the first time I'd done a full Let's Play and managed to actually finish it. I'm actually still trying to finish some of the other stuff. However, due to the length of time some have passed and some other issues, I'm actually going to be cleaning house on my channel in a little while. Cleaning out some of the stuff that never wound up, and then maybe starting over if there's a big enough demand for it. Now, that being said, there are, of course, other games that are coming out that I might be interested in doing reviews or plays on. And if anybody has ideas or suggestions on games they'd like me to review or would like me to play through, I'm all ears. But Gundam Breaker 2 is the next project down the pipe. And if I do it as a parody of the story, it'll be fairly quick. It'll at least cut about half the missions out, because half of them are tournament missions, which are outside of the story, and the other half are actual story missions. So, that's what I'm saying. What would you all like? I would certainly be up for doing it either way. If you have other suggestions, I'm big for it. I will set some guidelines. I cannot do the multiplayer with this particular thing. I'm in a situation where I'm not really doing multiplayer for any of this stuff, mostly because of time constraints. You know, with my job, my family, other concerns, I do have responsibilities as an adult that I need to take care of. So I will do this in the best capacity I can and get it done as quickly as I can crank them out. That's why the parody appeals to me, because I can keep it short while still trying to make it fun and entertaining. Now, if you have other suggestions or if you have any ideas you'd like me to do, I'm all for it, so let me know. But what I'm going to do is, if no real suggestions come through, or if there's not really a consensus, I will make a decision on my own and see how it pans out and go from there. If you all have a great idea or a suggestion and I like it, we'll do that instead. Also, there's going to be a few more fighting game funds and a few other like micro projects coming up when I have some time. Stuff that I can crank out real fast, put together in a short while, and throw up on the site to get out to you. I'm also considering doing some stuff with PC games that I have, like MechWarrior 4 and its Mercenaries and expansions. I'm also considering doing some other stuff as other games come out on Good Old Games, because they're releasing a lot of really cool LucasArts retro stuff, and I'd like to do some small reviews of those to let people know what retro games are worth getting and are not. So, that's all in the pipeline, but for right now, the one I'm focusing on is Gundam Breaker 2. I've already started recording footage, I'm starting to do editing, so I want to know what you people think I should be doing with it. If you have anything you'd like me to play in the future, or if there's something you'd like me to see, if I'm interested in, run it down in the comments. There's also work I'm doing with the Dead Space series that I'm looking into, that I would like to do down the road. And that's going to be funny if I can get the scripts to work correctly. So, anyway, that being said, if you all have suggestions or ideas, let me know. Otherwise, Mega Matt Cat is signing out for the moment. I will be back with more videos shortly. Thanks for watching my stuff, and hope to see y'all soon. Peace out. I'm done.